Are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
I'm pretty ready.
Yeah, we all need strategies for living, don't we?
I think so, as long as we're living.
Last I looked, I was, and I think everybody listening to us falls into that category too.
I'd say so. That's probably the case.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. Yeah. Hey, folks, welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and she is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan. We are delighted that you have joined us today here on Strategies for Living. And Lauren, when gloom looms, there's some metaphors that help positives resume.
Okay.
You like that? When gloom looms, some metaphors help positives resume.
You sounded like a poet over there.
And I don't know it.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know. I'm a poet.
Well, you know it now.
I'm a poet and don't know it. Actually, I was reading psychology. I like psychology today. Mm-hmm. And there was a post by Dr. Sandra Wartsky in a column called Mindful Metaphors. And this is on non-toxic positivity.
Oh, okay.
And so the non-toxic positivity is awareness of the negative situation. And you're not ignoring that, but you're saying, okay, I'm aware of the negative situation, but I'm seeking out ways, even in that negative situation, to notice positives. Right?
Right. I mean, I would put it in contrast. I like this idea of non-toxic positivity because we know a lot of us experience the idea of toxic positivity.
Now, what do you mean by toxic positivity?
Well, that kind of overzealous Pollyanna, I have to be happy all the time.
Let's be happy!
Well, and if somebody comes to you and they're having a bad day and you say, don't worry, just be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Which there's always...
And that can drive you nuts.
There's a time and a place for don't worry, just be happy, right?
Yeah.
But that can quickly become toxic because you are cutting off a whole part of the person by not acknowledging the totality,
the reality
of the situation.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to dive into some of these metaphors that she talks about here in non-toxic positivity. I think this may have some lessons for all of us. And folks, we're glad you're here with us. We're glad you're along for the Strategies for Living ride today with Lauren and I. And we appreciate our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Learning RX and Pintail Roofing.
Roof.
And Hempress Cannabis with Love and the Shreveport Little Theater. Back in a moment. Non-toxic positivity. When gloom looms, there are some metaphors that can help positives resume. That's today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. How many times do I say there is no place like Robinson Film Center?
You don't say it enough.
Well, no, I probably don't. And there is no place like the Robinson Film Center. I mean, where do you go to see current movies that you're not going to see anyplace else? Well, Robinson Film Center. Find out what's showing at robinsonfilmcenter.org. And then you've got Abby Singer's Bistro, right? Full-service bistro and bar, second floor of the Robinson.
That's what I can't get enough of.
Oh, man. So, here's what you want to do. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Dawnisa Walker with Learning RX Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, Maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending. Learning RX Report offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning RX Report. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning RX Report.
And welcome into 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, PLPC, David McMillan. And we're talking today about non-toxic positivity. When gloom looms, there are 5 metaphors to help positives resume. So, the thing is, we're gonna have, if you're living, right?
Right.
If you're alive, what comes with life?
Stress.
Difficulties. It's just
Bumps, ups and downs.
Yeah, it's just
all of it.
It's part of it, and we, a lot of times, maybe even most of the time, we can't. We're not in charge. We can't change occurrences of events, maybe tragic events,
right,
our hardships, our misfortunes. But what we can do is we can bring in coping.
We can change our response to them.
We can, and that brings in the ability. We say this word so much on strategies, balance. It brings in at least the possibility of balancing, of acceptance, and being willing then to make a shift.
Right.
So when the negativity is in high proportionality, it remains prominent. But when the balance of the positive and the negative is more moderate, then the negative becomes less apparent. It becomes less conspicuous, if you will.
Yeah, well, and I would use the word integrate. It's the idea of being able to integrate what you first, see as a negative or a stressful or off-putting experience, and integrating that into your story allows for you to accept it and then to move into the positivity, perhaps.
Yeah. Obviously, when we approach ourselves and we approach situations more positively, that can help to lessen the distress. It can help lessen the sting of sadness. But, the solution is not, let's just cram down the negatives. Let's just forget about the negative emotions, or let's even invalidate the experience. I think
right,
you were giving an illustration of that in the introduction.
Right, about toxic positivity.
Yeah. And that's toxic positivity. And toxic positivity can lead to inauthenticity. It can certainly, if you've ever been on the other side of it,
yeah,
it can be frustrating as all get out,
right. Well, because if you're on the receiving end of that, you don't feel heard.
Right.
You don't feel seen or understood, because they're only choosing to focus on one piece that you're not even experiencing what they are emphasizing or focusing on.
I guess what comes to my mind is a lot of times, unfortunately, we get out the platitudes, and we don't mean to. We're trying to. We're at funerals and wakes. We're trying to be supportive, right?
Right.
But perhaps one of the worst things we can say to somebody in the moment is, "Oh, don't worry, honey. He's in a better place now." Well, she doesn't want him to be in a better place.
That takes into account several assumptions, right?
Right. And again, there's several things. We're trying to be helpful. We're trying to be spiritual or whatever. But, there are places and times for all things, to everything there is a season, right?
And a time.
As the book of Ecclesiastes reminds us.
Right.
So that can be, toxic positivity can be very frustrating, even anger-provoking, and it can lower our sense of well-being. So we certainly, think happy thoughts. That's not, look on the bright side of things. Yes, he may be dead, but yeah. So those...
Can I just introduce a word there?
Okay.
Instead of but, and.
Okay. You want me to get off my butt, huh?
Yes, yeah. I do.
Okay.
I do, and I need you to join in with and.
And.
Because this is the place that, toxic, quote unquote, toxic positivity leads to.
Right.
It's still separative. It's still only focusing on one aspect of the coin.
I get that.
You understand?
Yep.
So if we rebrand it positivity, true what we're calling non-toxic positivity,
right,
is moving towards wholeness, integrative.
Yeah.
Versus negativity being separative.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so often what that means is shifting into, I guess I could call it an expanded mindset.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's using both and. It's including both and.
Yeah.
Yes, I am sad that he's gone, and I do know that he's in a better place. Perhaps, just as an example.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be both and.
Yeah.
And we can experience both things at once, or maybe we're just in one place at that point.
I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point.
The key there is we've got to get curious and ask, because we don't know where someone is unless we ask.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
in that particular instance.
Maybe in that particular instance, a great question is, tell me how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I start with the platitudes.
Or
right?
even to be authentic, true to you. If you truly don't know what to say, I think that's an okay thing to say.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say. And I don't
Yeah.
know what to do, but I'm here.
Right?
Yeah,
that's authentic. That's authenticity. Actually, research shows that allowing for the negative, giving room for the reality of the negative, right?
Right.
While also pulling in, so to your and.
Yeah, the expansive mindset idea.
You're pulling in some positive at the same time you're allowing for the negative is a much more psychologically effective and healthy thing to do. And I mentioned the metaphors. I mean, kind of the Dr. Wartsky came up with, when gloom looms, 5 metaphors help positives resume.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if she wrote that, or if somebody in the publishing office came up with it, but whoever came up with it, I like it.
Yeah.
So the some of the metaphors really kind of make you think.
Okay.
A metaphor, how would we describe what a metaphor is?
Everything.
Yeah, everything is metaphor. Yeah. But it's, hey.
It gives you a new imagery that gives you a new perspective on anything.
Yeah.
It gives you a new perspective.
It's alike. Something here is like. Jesus used a lot of metaphors. The kingdom of God is like.
Well, if you're using like or as, it's a simile.
Okay, well, but, technically. You must have been raised by an English teacher or something. Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean, though.
I got you.
Okay. So some of these really are expensive. They make you think. And the first one we're going to talk about is a glass of salty water.
Okay.
Doesn't that make your mouth water?
Sounds tasty.
If you had a glass of salty water and somebody said, "Okay, I want you to drink this," you might say, "Ugh, that
could actually be dangerous."
Not good. we may want to, of course, try to take out the salt to make it palatable, right? But that's not easy to do if the salt has been dissolved in the water. But think about this. If we take that glass of salty water and we dilute it within a 5-gallon container of fresh water,
Yes.
you know, the saltiness is much less present. It may still be there,
But it's diluted.
but it's diluted. And in the same way, similarly, in life, we may not be able to delete some of the negative past events or problematic situations. That's what the salt is representative of.
Okay.
But the more positives we can add into our life, that's the water, the less we're focusing only on negatives, right? So finding ways to enhance our lives by shifting toward happiness and toward contentment and toward joy and toward peace is a critical part of what is called resilience. And that's a healthy way to approach being a human. What do you think about my glass of salty water?
I like that. And it brings to mind several things, and one of which is it reminds me of the glass of dirty water analogy that I often use, which a lot of times people will, if you have a glass of water with dirt in it, right?
Right.
We often will try to scoop out the bits of dirt, right?
Yep.
But all that does often is just stir things up and make it dirty water, right?
We're stirring.
Yeah. Whereas if you take that same glass of dirty water or water with dirt in it and you begin to pour clean water into it,
Right.
it's a much faster way to end up with a full glass of clean water, and the dirt just comes out up and out of the glass automatically, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of along the same vein of, let's add in, let's focus on what we can add rather than on what we can take out and stir up.
Right.
The other idea here is being able to shift in the power of our focus and attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Being able to shift our focus out and then dilute what really shifting out our focus to the bigger picture so that we can see, that it was just small grains of salt in the big glass
Right.
of water anyway.
Our little specks of dirt
Right.
put together makes the water seem, enough of it makes the water seem very salty or very dirty.
Yeah.
And yet, there's another way to look at it. We're talking non-toxic positivity today. When gloom looms, there are some metaphors that help positive resume. Talking about non-toxic positivity today here on Strategies for Living. More to come, so stay right where you are. It's been going on for 101 years now. I'm talking about the Shreveport Little Theater. Been enriching our lives through the performing arts and education and opportunities to volunteer service guided by professional artists. They've been at it a long time. And up next, beautiful, the Carole King musical is the summer musical this year. And have you seen the 24-25 season? My goodness. Neil Simon's Brighton Beach memoirs, Steel Magnolias, It's a Wonderful Life, Doubt, I Love You, You're Perfect Now, Change, and then May We All, a new country musical. You need to get your season tickets right now. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. It is American theater at its best at 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport. Shreveport Little Theater. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. And welcome back into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. I had some yogurt before we started doing the show.
Yes.
Yep.
You did.
A little more than a dollop.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. I like yogurt.
I know you do.
Yeah. Okay, so yogurt's another metaphor, because we're talking today about We're talking about non-toxic positivity. When gloom looms, there are metaphors to help positives resume. And turns out another one of those metaphors is my dollop of yogurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are, of course, I mean, it comes with life, unfortunately. There are people who have trauma. In fact,
I think we all get a little bit.
All of us get somewhere along the way. So
Big T or little t.
trauma and adversity is just part of what we deal with in our backgrounds, right? And as much as we might like the idea of, let me just forget these things that have happened,
Yes.
what do we know? We know that that's not a realistic approach.
Does not work.
Yeah, because it's going to come out. It's going to come out some other way when we shove something down that we need to deal with, that we need to feel, and we need to move through. We shove it down. It's going to come out in some other way in our lives.
Right.
It might not be real pleasant, right?
Not often. Often it's not.
Often it's not. Often it comes out in relationships. Often it comes out in some type of physical
passive,
dis-ease.
Yeah. Or passive aggressive
Or
or
yes.
addiction. Yeah.
And so we can assist in the process of adding more encouraging events or even more affirming interpretations into our life,
Okay.
which when we do that, it slowly begins to weaken the intensity of the unpleasant experiences. So it's just like,
This is kind of what I would refer to it as a corrective experience.
yeah,
Right.
okay. So if I put in front of you, right, the spiciest, fieriest food, right,
Okay.
that I can possibly think of
Maybe
preparing.
some Indian food.
Yeah,
or-
maybe so. Yeah, or some, there's all kinds of spicy food out
Right.
there. But if I put that down in front of you, if that might be hard to get down for some of us. But if you give me some yogurt, or you give me some sour cream, or you even give me some ranch dressing, ranch, easy for me to say, ranch dressing,
Right.
that can tone all of that spiciness down. So adding in some positives just like that can tone down negative life experiences. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so the dollop of yogurt might be a fun recreational pursuit. It might be a new friendship, making a new friend. It might be a fresh way of interpreting a disappointment. That's the dollop. Those are the dollops of yogurt.
Right.
And so all of those things might then help you to mellow something that has gotten too fiery, too fierce in your life. That makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. And one thing that popped into my head that I appreciate that you do often
Yeah.
and that you've taught me is to insert humor.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
power of humor and laughter.
A-
and that's a great
appropriately
dollop.
done.
Right,
Yeah, appropriately
right,
done.
right.
Because you don't want to. You certainly don't want to.
No, you don't want it to be dismissive or
Right.
become a toxic positivity event.
Right.
But where appropriate, this would be, maybe going to watch a funny movie or a quick
Yeah.
funny clip to liven you up. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I just need to get out of here for a while. So taking a little vacation, even if it's a weekend trip, or I think I'll redecorate that room this weekend, right? Even if I'm just moving things around.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
spending
can be
any
a big-
money. I'm just moving things around. I'm redecorating. I've got some furniture in the living room that I can put in this room, and I can kind of, make a new space for me. You've done that recently.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and so again, that's the dollop of yogurt. So it's kind of like changing the taste of the situation that's been that's become too spicy, too fiery, too acrimonious, if you will.
Yeah, when the world outside gets a little too loud, which it can be nowadays, right?
Yeah, it happens.
It's about shifting your focus inward to things that you can control in your own personal environment.
Yeah.
I mean, like the things you've mentioned.
So what we're talking about here is we're talking about the process of deliberately and very determinedly diluting any difficulties. And what that does, it allows our senses to remain open and ready for new taste of life, because that's what life is, isn't it?
It is. It's constantly.
It's constantly offering us something new. Change. The only thing that we can absolutely 100% depend upon in our life is change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of us have had the experience of going up not too far into Arkansas, right? And doing the diamond,
Sure,
doing the
diamond
diamond mine thing.
Yeah.
You've done that, haven't you?
The Crater of Diamonds.
The Crater of Diamonds.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I've never done it.
I'll have to take you.
Yeah, you'll have
I'd
to take
love
me.
to take you up there.
But that's another metaphor.
Yeah.
Mining for gems. Okay.
Okay.
So, think about the times that it just seems like, man, there's a lot of darkness in my life right now. The mucky days, dirty days, dark days. And I can't stand it. Well, with all that darkness, there are sometimes we have to look for them. Just like I suppose
you. Sometimes, there's always.
Okay, always. There's some
Almost
little
always.
glitters if we look.
Right.
And so, amidst the darkness, we can find sometimes glitters of gold. It's like panning for gems in a muddy river, right?
Right.
We have to be on the lookout for the tiniest glimpse of a sparkle that lets us know, hey, there just might be something valuable here. There just may be something valuable to grab onto. And so during difficult times, the majority of life circumstances let's be honest, they might still be messy, right? They might still be rocky. They might still be muddled. But finding a way to look for just moments of comfort can help us out. So can we stop and just watch the birds?
Right.
We have a bird feeder that I think your mother gave it to us. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And
it's on the window.
it's on. Yeah. It's
attached to the window, so we get to see.
Yeah, we get to see the birds.
Yeah, they come right to us.
And it's been honestly, it's made me turn the TV off some.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Sometimes I'd rather watch the birds than what's on the evening news.
Right.
But watching the birds it could be.
I like this mining for gems idea.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, there's a new word that I learned recently.
Yeah.
And it's called glimmer. And they kind of advertise it, or, say that it's the opposite of a trigger, which I would argue with, that a trigger is anything. It's anything that stimulates you or stirs you into some kind of feeling, right?
Right.
But they are, people often look at triggers as a negative, like it triggers you into fear or to some other less pleasant feeling, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's a branding of glimmers being something that will trigger you into the more cohesive, the more heart-centered emotions.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Yeah.
And so I like this in conjunction with this, because remembering those glimmers in life, right?
Yeah.
Those little moments that bring you joy or bring you gratitude can help to bring it more into your life.
Absolutely. And again, something that we were talking about the birds, but it could also be something as simple as finding a video that you love
Or curling up with a good book and a soft blanket. You know,
Yeah.
whatever it is
Yeah.
that really brings you comfort. and
Maybe
peace,
having an
or
amazing meal,
Yeah.
treating yourself to an amazing meal.
watching the sunset,
There you go. You get,
cuddling with your pet.
you exactly.
Yeah.
You get to define what the sparkles are for you.
The other thing in mining for gems, you know, to me speaks to, yes, it's mucky and muddy and it appears that way, but going through the tough times, we find our biggest treasures. Right. So it's about also uncovering the lessons within the hardships, within the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the small sparkles don't immediately or spontaneously lead to, we all live happily ever after, right? Everything is resolved.
No.
But in the same way, adding some small, peaceful moments can bring us moments of comfort. And sometimes just moments, are what we need.
Well,
'Cause-
that's all we have is the present moment.
Well,
and
yeah.
Each now moment as it passes by.
And we have, that's the way we live our lives, isn't it?
Moment to
by
moment.
moment by moment.
And each moment is a new opportunity.
Yeah, and a new opportunity to accept and,
Grow and learn.
grow. And we say this often, life is both, an integrative and adaptive process. And as each new moment comes, we have the opportunity to integrate, to adapt whatever needs to be adapted in our lives, and to integrate this new now.
How does this fit in?
How does this fit into
How can I
am
embrace
gonna,
it?
Right. How am I going
How
to
can I
make it?
open my arms wider?
Absolutely, and move forward in life. We're talking about non-toxic positivity today. Gloom's going to loom. It just comes with life. But some metaphors help positives resume, and we're talking about those today here on Strategies for Living. We've got more to come, so stay right where you are. You're going to see the difference when you go to Azalea Cleaners. You'll hear about it, too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it, too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back into 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan and David McMillan. We are talking non-toxic positivity today. When gloom looms, some metaphors will help positives resume. So,
You like that?
I like that. Yeah.
It's clever.
It is. So we've talked about a glass of salty water. We've talked about a dollop of yogurt. And we've talked about mining for gems, right?
Yes.
Well, let's get on the bus.
beep,
You know?
beep.
Yeah, a lot of us get on the bus. And
Yeah.
you know the bus we get on?
Well, which one are we getting on?
The bitter bus.
Ooh.
And so another metaphor here is you need to get off some. You need to take breaks. Most of us have probably at some point in our lives, even if it was back in high school for an athletic or a band trip or something like that, we've taken long bus rides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, how nice does it feel when the bus stops and we get to get off,
It
right?
is very nice, especially if we're driving straight through to Disney.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
Yeah. So, here's the deal. We're absolutely allowed to feel whatever we feel. Anger, our resentment, our jealousy,
We feel.
whatever we feel is what we feel when we have challenges or obstacles that, we're facing. But only focusing on the negative leads us to ruminate on, comparisons that are really not constructive. So we might find ourselves on the bitter bus.
It's when you latch on to the feeling.
Yeah. But at designated stops, we need to get off the bus. We need to find ways to take breaks and help us. Those breaks, getting off the bus, helps us shift our focus. It allows us to, okay, let me take a different perspective here, or let me just take a little pause, right?
Yeah.
Some life journeys some of them are more taxing, and that might require us to stop the bus a little bit more along the way, right?
Okay.
But getting off the bitter bus is really, I like this metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it too. And I don't know, this might be kind of a practical strategy for getting off the bitter bus. But I have nannied for girls for several years. And one of the lessons that I learned with them in particular was the power of two specific things, okay? To change any, if we were in a bad mood, if we were having fits over
Issues and
whatever,
fits,
which happens when you've got 5 or more girls in a room.
Yeah.
Right? Two of the biggest things that could quickly change that is to get them outside or get them in water. Okay?
Yeah.
And I noticed when I did this with them, I said, one day I was in a bad mood and I did it with myself and it works.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. And bonus if you could do both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so to go outside in nature, just to shift environments into our natural environment, get grounded. That's a
feel
huge...
feel the earth beneath us, or feel the sun on our
both,
backs. Yeah.
right?
Or both. Yeah.
Or get yourself in water, whether
Yeah.
that's taking a bath, taking a shower, or if you can do both outside, play with the water outside.
I don't think it's by accident that, we started using water during baptism.
No,
It's
none at
no
all.
accident. Yeah.
No, because it's that quickly that we can change. I mean, it's a physical rinse, but if you can use it intentionally as a mental and emotional rinse as well, and let the water clean you in that way.
Right.
It can be a really powerful tool. It is a powerful
It is a very powerful tool.
and a powerful way to step off the bitter bus, perhaps,
Yeah.
for a moment.
We when we have rain, and sometimes the rain lasts a while, right? But during the day, what do we look for after the rain?
A rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So find a rainbow. This is another metaphor. Sometimes we need a quick change of perspective or mindset. We're having, let's say, a very difficult moment, and we need to change very quickly. So engaging in a mindfulness activity of finding a rainbow. So what you're doing here, what this mindfulness is simply
Bringing your awareness
bringing
to
your
the present
awareness
moment.
somewhere else, right? Bringing it from where it is back into the present,
Right.
back into the now.
And a quick way to do that is usually through your senses, right?
Yes, any of your
Okay,
senses.
so I think I know where you're
So
going.
finding a rainbow is you're finding and naming at least 5 colored objects
Mm-hmm.
in your current view. And I know this sounds simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a mindfulness activity, and it can break the spell of negativity or discomfort, even just for a few moments.
Right.
And if we do it for a few moments, you can find that it breaks the spiraling of things like cynicism. Let's say,
I mean, all of those things to me happen in your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so to find a rainbow requires you to really shift your focus and use your brain to bring yourself to where you are.
Right. We might be in a store in this incredibly long line, and we're in a hurry, and there's all of these people in front of us. So, we can't change the fact of where we are, and we need to get this stuff, right?
Right.
But even there, we can shift into, very intentionally finding a rainbow. Let me find 5 colored objects in my current view. And so paying attention to pleasant colors, naturally, it's not going to take away the frustration or the stress, whatever you're going through. But what it can do is it can temporarily distract you and stimulate a reset. Sometimes we just need a reset to get back to coping, in a different way, So, I hope the metaphors, are helpful. And
I like them.
Yeah.
Metaphors, as we know, can be incredibly powerful tools.
They can.
To shift our perspectives.
Yeah. And so, the metaphors, when gloom looms, there are some metaphors to help positives resume. And, because we don't want toxic positivity. We want non-toxic positivity,
We are inclusive.
Yeah.
And we need it all because we wouldn't know the positive without the negative.
There you go. There you go. Life is life. And so, life is going to bring its difficulties, but it also brings its joys.
Absolutely.
And so...
And it's always there for those who will look.
We got to be willing to do the B word. We got to balance. And so... hopefully these metaphors help us to bring a little bit more balance into our life. We'll be right back here on Strategies for Living. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM. 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. So, Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, are you fatigued? Are you overwhelmed by a negative situation that might need a reframe, might need a reset? Can you consider the metaphors that we've talked about this evening? Maybe that's a better way to bring about some balance, right?
Yeah.
And, the balance will help. It's not going to take away, you can't take away the difficulties of life. I mean, life is life.
No, and the only way to move through and beyond is to first accept where you are and to validate, how you're feeling, because we can't change that.
Yeah.
And the more you argue with how you're feeling, the more you're going to latch on and continue that spiral.
Yeah. So the next time that you are, and that might be later this evening, it might be tomorrow, when you find yourself in a moment of frustration, maybe you could find the rainbow. Just, just a very simple mindfulness technique.
Bring yourself back to the moment.
Yeah.
And recognize that, I'm okay, and this will pass.
Yeah, this too shall pass.
The good and the bad.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna go get off the bitter bus now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, if you'll
Beep,
stop.
beep.
If you'll stop.
No, I kind of like driving though.
I know.
Yeah, on the road.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull the.
Don't pull the emergency
Don't pull
brake.
the emergency brake. Okay. I'll try not to do that. Folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for a Living. We appreciate you being with us here on Strategies, and we appreciate our sponsors making it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, Empress, Cannabis with Love, and the Shreveport Little Theater. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. And we'll see you next time right here on Strategies for a Living.